and welcome back to episode 6 of Down Memory Lane. Mike Valentano freezing here in New Jersey tonight, but we're going to heat some things up in a little bit here, and this one's going to be interesting. We are going to dedicate this one tonight to the life and history of the original and the only, in my opinion, Mr. 900, Glenn Allison. So we're going to bring on the first guest, uh, familiar face here. He's been here. This is his third time. We're bring back the great Billy Hall. So Billy's back and
Hi, everybody.
nice and warm in Vegas as Billy is. Um, you know, new to the show tonight. Bill got a guest here, and Billy told me this guy was a fellow historian, bowling nerd, guru, whatever you want to call him, right, Bill?
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
and a statistical genius, he said. He
Yep,
knows.
he has, I believe, the biggest collection of the different bowling tour guides and everything like that. He's got a lot of information in his head, something I'm not capable of doing because I had too many stats in my head to deal with as it was. But he's also been a very good friend of mine since the '80s. And his name is Paul Wolf. His mother is a seven-time Hall of Famer, Fran Wolf. And what people don't know is Fran it is like was like a mother to me for many years. She spent a lot of time on the LPBA, and when I was out on the LPBA, she her first words to me was do not date any of the lady players.
Did you listen to
Um,
that?
yeah, it didn't last.
So
That was her first words to me was just do not date any of the lady players.
Yeah,
That
how'd
was
that work
actually
out?
her first words.
did it work out though?
No.
No.
So I met Paul all of about 3 minutes ago, and I got all this information. And Paul is in Kansas City. So
Correct.
thanks for joining us, and I'm
Sure.
looking forward to getting inside Paul's brain, Billy, and see what's in that brain of his, and as we go on through the night, right?
Absolutely, because he's got a lot of information. He's actually has statistics memorized much more than I do.
Probably much more than I do.
And it's like I can remember bowlers specs, their physical games and everything like that, but really when being on tour it was more of I had to remember a different set of specs, a different set of information, like who was caching, who wasn't caching, what their access point was, what their drill sheet was. So I didn't really have time to think about anything else. But Paul's got a lot of information on that. But one thing I really want to make sure we do tonight is we honor the legendary Mr. Glenn Allison, unfortunately, who recently passed. But you know, I think, and I cannot ever say this enough, we cannot build a future unless we celebrate the past.
Agreed.
And we have to celebrate the past of those that were before what we're seeing now. And what people don't realize is out of all the founding members, the 33, there's only one left right now.
Yeah, you told me that this afternoon. I was kind of surprised and taken back when you said that to me.
Yeah, that's Mr. Carmen Salvino. That's the
Hmm.
last surviving member of the founding fathers. And I think we've got to really delve into the abilities of those players and the actual incredible feat that Mr. Glenn Allison set, that into my mind, and I'm sure a lot of others, that it's the only legitimate 900. It is my personal view. I'm not saying that people that shoot it don't deserve some kind of yay, but the only legitimate one in my mind will ever be Mr. Glenn Allison.
How many are there total? 30 something now?
I think there's 33.
33. Are we counting Robert Mushtares or Mush Hairs or whatever his name is?
I don't. I'll tell you right now, I don't.
No.
And it's it's like anything goes right now. And is that a good thing for the game? I really don't think so. I mean, really think about what Mr. Allison accomplished on that night. If my memory is correct in reading the stats, the other highest set that night was 637, or that afternoon, I should say, was 637.
Yeah, with a conventional grip yellow dot
Yeah.
on wood, and then and to preface that though, I mean, there weren't as many synthetic houses back then, so I mean, bowling on wood was not as
It wasn't out of the norm.
it wasn't out of the norm as it is today.
Yeah.
But to do that with a conventional ball and with a conventional plastic ball, right when urethane was coming, well, urethane had already come out, is even more impressive. And the fact that he was a Hall of Famer and one of the great team era bowlers, that's it just put an exclamation point on it for me.
And that's what people don't understand. When you see all these things celebrating the past with like these pictures with celebrities and these people in small groups and everything, those were bowling clubs.
Yeah.
They weren't open bowling centers. These were private clubs.
Yeah. And everybody had their favorites, and that's where they went. And it was like the first, to me, the poor man's country clubs, and that's where you hung out, and that's where that's where your community was.
So, and we're looking at it now. You can walk into a bowling alley, and there really isn't any, in my opinion, stature of what at that high of a level that what you had then as you do now or back then. It's those players were notable players. They weren't like we've talked many times before, and it's not like the guy that's walking around looking to see what the temperature of the building is, what oil pattern they put out, what pair they'll be on, what topography they're on, who's throwing what bowling ball. No, these guys just bowled each other, flat out bowled each other.
Yeah, and didn't care what what the shot was or what ball they were using or any of that. They just went out and bowled.
There was no egos back then, and the ego is ruining it now. That's the issue today. Is everybody has the ego.
To a certain extent, you can't tell me that some of those guys didn't have some big egos. I mean, they were out there beating heads with each other, and there had to be some ego involved. You don't get great without any ego.
No, but the ego now meaning like I'm not going to go bowl somewhere if it's under 39 feet in length. I'm not going to.
Well, okay, yeah,
that's what I'm talking about.
Right, yeah, I get that. Yeah, nothing pisses me off more than that.
Exactly. So where did let's go back to Mr. Allison. So he was a team player. So how did his career start? I don't know too much about him, so I want to dive in and like where did he get his start? So, like I know we talk about Weber with the Budweisers. Is that where did Mr. Allison start his career at?
With the Stroh's team in St. Louis, I believe, with Buddy Bomar and gosh, who else was on that team? Might have been Fazio.
I believe Lou Juglard was also there.
That's one of your favorite guys. Yeah,
yes, it is.
I was just looking it up not too long ago. Who else was on that team? But it was. I think Dick Hoover was on that team.
Yes, Dick Hoover, a name that nobody remembers, which drives me nuts.
He was phenomenal. He was just through a tank. But that's where he started in those St. Louis teams. And I believe he was originally from California and came out to St. Louis because he got drafted onto one of those beer teams and competed against Carter and Weber and all those guys, Bluth, in the St. Louis leagues.
So he was out there with, I was probably in the 50s. We're going to say in the early to mid 50s. He was probably doing that, and he was one of the charter members, as we found out. So. And I'm not familiar with his career. So he bowled on tour. He won on tour. So when he was out there in 58, 59, so he was out there at the origin of the tour then.
Yeah, he won 5 titles.
So he won 5. All in the beginning part of the tours when he won his title?
Late 50s, early 60s.
Okay. And then
And he threw an actual basically a spinner.
Oh, it was a dead spinner.
like a Taipei,
So-
not a Taipei
Yeah.
spinner.
Yeah.
It was
And-
not like a Taipei spinner,
Yeah,
but
not
it
a
was
No,
it
no.
was a spinner. No, it was
Although
a
I
spinner.
know how to throw. I know how to throw that one.
I know you do.
Yeah.
I was fortunate. I only got to see him bowl one time, and that was at the Showboat years ago in one of the senior tournaments. And he threw it as good as anybody, but you couldn't figure out how he got the 5 out, but he did. And I mean, he was just dead accurate and could just, if it was the track, if he had the track to play, he'd kill you all day. He was a really, really good player.
How long did he tour for? Was he out there for long duration, or how? But you never really hear of him after like the '60s, like in the '70s. I don't remember hearing of him out there.
Bill, do you have any? Because I'm not sure when he was actually done.
He didn't after the mid '60s. He was only out there for about 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you got to remember, you go back in that time, these guys were blazing the trail for us.
Yeah.
So one of the things that they did, which I keep hearing this to this day, and doesn't make any sense, is you have to sacrifice so we can build a future. We've done enough sacrificing. It's now time to get back to rewarding the player. Right now, there are officials, I won't get into any name, that are making 3 times as much as a player throwing the ball, that is bringing in the viewership, but they have done nothing to expand the viewership. So how is that how is that good for the overall aspect of the game? There isn't any good aspect of the game when you look at it financially. These players are busting their butts for gas money right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a sin, is what it is.
Well, it's like, and this is going back to the ego part. Okay, you are not, and I hate to say it straightforward like this. Sorry, but if you're getting free bowling balls and free bags, you're not a staff member. You're a whore. You're being given you are being given a billboard to promote.
Yeah, it's guerrilla marketing is what it is.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's guerrilla marketing. It's always been that. Not
And,
all,
you know-
not always. I mean, when the guys in the 50s and 60s and 70s were getting ball contracts, that was it was because they were great. It's because they were, it wasn't because they were selling balls. These companies wanted them on staff to represent them. Now it's how many balls can you sell for us? What can you do for it? And I get that. These companies are out there, they're here to make money. And I get that, but it's you don't have to have any credentials to have a ball contract.
Your skill doesn't award it anymore. It's who
No.
you know and what you know and how big your social media following is. That's basically what it is.
Exactly.
And this is coming in from Charlie Tapp here. This is he bowled a few regular stops out west in the '80s. He lived in California, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then he bowled a couple senior stuff. I always remember him more as an ABC, USBC Eagle guy than a PBA guy.
Well, he did win. He won 4 Eagles.
Yes.
I mean, he all in the classic division, so he wasn't bowling against. He was bowling against the best. So he was a really good player.
Does he own the record? And Paul, you would probably know this because you're the stat guy here. Most pins at the Open. Does he have that record, or is that somebody else?
I think he would have gotten the record had he not passed away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he would have gotten it this year.
Yeah, he
Really?
was very and unfortunately the last year or so, I don't know if it's the last 2 years, but the last year, he could only take one. He was using a walker.
I saw
and he could only take one step and just get it down there. But he would have broken it this year.
Who does have the record? Do we know who? It's not. Is it Joe Norris? Does he have that? Is that him?
I think it's what was that guy's name? Bill Doerman he was from Indiana, and he bowled. Oh my gosh, he bowled like 50 or 60 consecutive.
Almost
ABCs.
60. I believe it was 58.
and he held. I don't know if he still holds the record because I just don't keep up with it like I used to. But he had the record for a long, long time, and don't ask me what the number was, but it was well over 100,000 pins.
Let's take a look. We'll figure out who holds the record. But he bowled for what, 60 plus years. Glenn
Yeah.
Allison was there every year.
Yeah.
Am I correct on that one?
Yeah.
Pretty close, yes. But I want to share a quick story about Mr. Allison.
Please.
I met him, again, out on tour, it was always hard to remember because everything was pretty fast and furious. I met him in 1988 or 89 in Canton, Ohio. And the guy that got me started in bowling, Mr. John Fantini, he was there at the tournament for whatever reason, I don't remember. And it was basically the only senior stop at that time. And it was labeled, I believe, the greatest or something like that. And we were sitting down, and of course I was petrified because I did not really know the man. And during the conversation, they were talking about the accuracy and the ability, and the most importantly, the feel of what they did as a player. And he said to John, my good friend, I call him Grandpa John. He said to him, he goes,
Sorry, fellas.
"Oh, no problem." He goes, "You know what happens is at one time when they get so easy, I'm used to hitting one board. Then I can hit 3 of them and still strike." And he goes, and the next thing you know, there's arrows on them because you become accustomed to being able to score in a wide range.
Mm-hmm.
And that hit me, and that never left me, because that's one thing. It's like right now, everything's averages. It's a 320 RPM average. Well, back then, let's just put it in those numbers. If you rubbed the ball 12 times, it reacted one way. If you rubbed it 14 times the next time, it reacted a completely different way. There were no averages. There was just the ball reacted to more of what you did.
He's talking about my dog.
He's talking about your dog, yeah. Of course.
Yeah.
So I pulled the stats to go back to the. That's Charlie would expect. So
right.
Who is the guy you thought was the total with the total pins? What did you think his general? The guy's
Bill Doerman from I want to say it was from like Muncie, Indiana.
Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Fort Wayne. Yeah.
He's 10th on the list.
10th now.
Who's
leading it?
So Bill Lillard holds the record.
Okay.
68 years. He has 630 career games.
Oh my God.
196 lifetime average. Joe Norris was second.
Okay.
And Glenn will be third on the list. And he was roughly 700 pins away, 7 and change away from breaking the record. So he would have gotten to second this year.
Yeah.
So he was about 331 behind Joe Norris. And then he was roughly about 700 behind Lillard. So that's what it would have been. But he bowled 72 Open Championships, Glenn Allison.
Think about those 3 names, 1, 2, and 3. That's some incredible bowling right there.
Fourth is James Schroeder.
Jimmy Schroeder.
Yeah, Jimmy Schroeder.
Don Ellis is 5th. Les Zykes is 6th.
Ellis.
Sylvester Thiel from Minnesota. Bob Hart, Dick Weber, and then your guy Bill Doberman. Yeah,
those are unbelievable names right there.
And so Glenn Allison had a lifetime 190 average for 649 games with his first appearance at the Open, 1947.
That's crazy.
How's that?
That's absolutely crazy.
And you got to go back. I mean, if you go way back then, you shoot 190, you were bowling really good.
Are you kidding me? My first nationals was 1984 in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay. I was 18 years old. I have never bowled on anything that hard in my life until I went on tour, and I think I shot a small 16, and I was so damn proud of it. because I mean, it was just brutal. It was just absolutely brutal. And for years after that, now they progressively got easier.
Yeah.
And when, what year was it, Billy? Was it Wichita in like 87, 88,
88.
88? And they just, scores just went crazy. And after that, it was like that almost every year. But prior to that, you averaged 190 at nationals, you bowled your butt off.
I had interviewed Bo Burden about 2 years ago, and Bo told me he held the record for the highest average of the Open for years, and he was I think he said maybe 201, 202.
I believe it.
But that's when it was 1-to-1, gutter to gutter, flat, and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And he had told me the last year he bowled, one guy had bowled more games over 250 than Bo had bowled in 30 years in that tournament, and he quit. Never went back again.
Yeah, I believe it.
And to your point, he goes, they were impossibly hard, but there's a guy, phenomenal player, and averaged 201 for 30 years of in that tournament.
Yeah. And I remember when he shot, like I want to say it was the second 800 ever at nationals. And that was front page news because it was so hard and it was unheard of at the ABC. You didn't shoot 800. Hell, you never shot 700 at the ABC, let alone 800.
All events was never 22 or 2300.
No. I remember one year it was like 1870 or 1880 won all events. Small 1900s. You don't even cash with that anymore.
And I mean, it comes down to this, and people get upset over it, but the execution or the excellence of the player is not what it used to be. We are now creating monster scores, and again, I'll throw this out there about the Olympics. Olympics are all about precision. They're all about everything being legitimate. Margin of error is very, very small. In a race, if you make 1/10 or 1/100th of a mistake in pace, you're not going to win the gold. And here we are in bowling, we are marginalizing ability by creating everything in the way of how big of a margin of error can you get away with. How does that even equate to what these guys did in the past? It's not even close.
No, it's not, and it's unfortunate. I coach a college team, mm-hmm. and I've got 13 guys, and 11 of them are two-handers, and I've got a couple that are really good, could be really, really good, but they have no idea what it is to bowl. They bowl on some hard stuff. Don't get me wrong. Collegiate bowling is no joke.
Oh, no,
they bowl tough. They bowl on harder stuff than I think the tour bowls on, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. But when they get to a house shot, they just tear it up because they know they've got this much to hit.
And a 740 rev rate, of course.
Right. And so that, they don't, I don't even know how to articulate this, but they don't know what it is to, bowl on something that is just so hard, and without the equipment and without that, that rev rate, they wouldn't have any idea what to do. But it's just a totally different environment.
Go to the Peterson.
Well, yeah. Well,
so I want to go back to one more national topic before we get back to Glenn's stuff. So we're talking about how hard it was and how the numbers were always low to win the Eagles and whatnot. How about the year that Mike Newman had, I believe it was in Buffalo, was it Buffalo or Niagara Falls in the early 90s?
Niagara Falls.
What did he do? He won 5 Eagles in 1 year. Was it 4 or 5 Eagles he won in 1 year?
He won four
in 1 year.
In 1 year. Yeah.
Unheard of.
And it is. The only other guy to do it, I think, is Bill Lillard.
It was, yeah, he's the only other one.
Yeah. That ever did it.
Mike Newman, unfortunately, life took a wrong turn for him. Mm-hmm. And, he took that direction. There's nothing you can do. There's a lot of players that happened to. Yeah.
But to win
But
4 Eagles in 1 year that's pretty damn
yeah, but
impressive.
he could execute a shot, and he knew off of his hand what whether he was the percentage was high or the percentage was low. Another player that you can look in, unfortunately, I never got to see her bowl, but Marion Ladewig, you could tell at the top when she had the feel in her head, and that ball was at the top. You could see it on her way through the bottom of the swing. I don't see that with a lot of players right now.
We talk about it all the time, Billy. Those guys had touch.
Oof.
That yes,
And
absolutely.
as awkward as Newman looked and wrenching on it, Newman had touch. He did.
Oh yeah, he could change speeds. I mean, I watched him when I worked. I worked at the Showboat for several years, as did Bill. And at the High Roller, he was. You did not want to bowl Mike Newman at all, but he could bowl on anything. He was that good, and he was that sure of himself. I saw the guy win a boat twice. It was just he was incredible. He really was. But Mike, life got in the way for Mike. I mean, his legacy will always be what if.
He's one of the biggest what ifs.
Oh, I agree.
Career that would have been out there.
Yeah. And he did tour for about, I don't know what he bowled, Bill, like half a year or something like that.
Yeah, he bowled a half year in the winter tour
and made several finals.
Yeah, but he just couldn't crack it past that because, again, let's just say life got in the way.
Right.
Billy, when were you out there? When did you stop working the tour?
I was out there from 1980 to 1995.
Okay, so you weren't there. So 97. This is my Newman story or tour, and this is what everybody's told us. Newman made the top 24 at Carolier at Johnny's tournament the 1 year, and he finished 6th. And the big Newman story from that tournament was he lost to Amleto in match play 300-299, and he missed the show by like 30 or 40 pins. But the thing was, if Newman would have made the show, he would have to sacrifice his amateur status to take the check. So everybody always thought that Newman kind of tanked the position round to not make the show to prevent everything from happening. I don't know how true that is, if that was the case, and only Mike could answer that. But at that point, like, why would you do that? Just go and get the prestige at that point. You've won everything else. Just build your legacy at that point. Wouldn't you think that would be the right thing to do?
He had the type of fire that I don't think he would throw it away. I think he would have sacrificed. If he would have made it, he would have sacrificed whatever to snag the next title. He just had that type of personality and that type of adrenaline.
He had the ego, and he could back it up. It didn't matter.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
And Barnes always told the story, too. He won something overseas. I think it was in Korea. Dead impossible. They put up 100,000 if he bowled 300. And the first game of the tournament, Newman shot 300. First game of the tournament, like it was nothing. And he went back the next year, took the ball out of the showcase. They kept the ball and shot 300 again with it. And, all those guys like Barnes and Rudy and Robert, they always said Mike was the best they ever saw. It just had the mental part of it, the release, the game, everything. There was nobody better than him.
He was pretty good. He really was. He was phenomenal. I mean, he spent a lot of time during the rollers. He camp out in the pro shop, and I got to know Mike pretty well. He was very good friends with Eric Handegard, and I worked with Eric for several years, John Handegard's son. And I spent a lot of time with Mike, picked his brain. He knew the game, probably still does, inside and out. He was a student of the game too.
Billy, you always said that about him too.
Yeah, we sat down together several times, but we were always talking about pinfall, because what's the name of the game? To get the pin to fall. And no nice way to say it, those 10 white pricks back there, they know when you are not throwing it well. How they know, I don't want to know, but they do know. And like Mike would tell me, he goes, it's like a combination. You're just trying to figure out how to unlock the safe. And he goes, they will tell you what to do. And I had heard that before from, of course, Larry Lickstein and Mr. Earl Anthony and a few others. That the whole idea.
That was Don Johnson's favorite saying.
You had to know.
There's a safe at the end of the bowling alley.
Yep.
Yeah.
And your job is to unlock it.
So let's
Yeah.
go here. So there's a safe at the end of the 60 feet, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How did Glenn Allison do it then? How did he do it 40 years ago? How did he unlock that safe? How did he do it?
You know, I
Precision,
don't think
accuracy.
I
there's
think only Glenn
anybody
could
that
answer that.
I mean, because it's like we mentioned earlier. Okay, he threw plastic. You know, I hate when someone calls it a spare ball. There is no such thing as a spare ball. I can spare with any of them.
Mhm.
He did it with, but he did it with a plastic ball. So he struck 36 times in a row. So another way to look at it is he spared 10 pins 36 times in a row.
So
Yeah.
let's just go here. And I don't know this. So this is going to be education for me too. Why did they not approve it? What was the main reason that they did not approve? They haven't approved it. What was the issue?
I personally don't think they thought it could never be done. That's what I've always thought, is that they didn't think anybody could do it. And my opinion was, if a ABC Hall of Famer and PBA Hall of Famer can throw 36 in a row, give him the friggin' ring. You know, I mean, my God, he's earned it. Why did he not get it? I'm sure there were other extenuating circumstances there, but I don't know enough about how they check the lanes or whatever. I don't know. But
Obviously, they weren't taped or anything. So did they say the conditions were like illegal? Is that what it was?
I think that's what it was.
That was the
a lot-
fallout.
Right.
That was the fall guy or fall object. But I'm with Paul. I think they never thought it would be done. Somebody came along and did it. That is an accomplished player. That's the part that doesn't make any
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
He's an accomplished player.
This is coming in from Pat Gale here. After lane tape, they found that the late league was not in compliance here, and here's tap again. For years and years, the scuttlebutt was the ABC didn't want anybody to beat Ali Brandt's record. What was Ali Brandt's record?
886.
Yeah, but you had God, the name just skipped 890.
Ray Orff.
Ray Orff.
Yeah.
St. Louis guy. Love
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
Orf.
same.
Great
I
timer.
grew up with Ray's kids.
Yeah, they're
And-
really, really good people.
Yeah.
And then so when we right now, and I'll just say it the way I see it, the game's not legitimate at the moment. But they'll sanction anything. But when the game was much more legitimate, they threw things out.
Right.
Think about that for a moment. I mean,
Right.
that just is mind-boggling to me.
Think about how many 300 games were thrown out back.
Yeah,
in
I had one of them.
I did too. Back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
When they used to run the tapes, and they had to block off the lanes, and no one could touch them, and blah. You had to wait for the ABC rep to come out and do the finger smear and all that BS. Do you think about that now? And now it's just you're just filling out paperwork. To me, there's no. There's nothing special about it. I love when I get on social media and some guy goes, "This is my 267th 300 game." Well, who the hell shoots 267 300 game? I'm sorry.
Or this is my 90th 800.
Right. Come on.
Of the year, Billy.
Are
Gotta
you-
say it.
Of the year. I'm sorry.
Of the year.
I hate to sound like an old goat, but my God, that's ridiculous.
All right, I want to give you one here. So, and I was in the building for this one. I was a kid. It's not recognized, but I always thought it was. I watched Norm Duke shoot 900 at Carolier at Johnny's tournament. It's not recognized. We all know that. It ended the block, 2 to end the block, 1 to start the block. It's never going to be recognized, but I saw 9. I consider that 900. And on those patterns, it wasn't on a league pattern. It wasn't bowling your Monday night men's mixed league or whatever. Duke did it on tour. Joe Scarborough did it on tour. Do we consider those more prestigious than the ones that are shot in league play now? Or
I'll
would
put
we?
it this way. I am surprised when I look on social media every day when I don't see another 900.
That's yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to coach Norm Duke, and I was coaching him at that time. Um, One thing I will say, he did it with not his strength game. He had an A game, B game, and a C game. He was slow hooking it,
Yep.
and he did it with his C game. So that part is impressive. The only part that I have a problem with was you got to take a break.
And he did do the crossing pairs too. He did do a crossing pairs across. The
Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely.
And Billy, if you were there, it didn't. If I remember correctly, he stoned an 8 the game before he shot his first 300, or he would have had 9 in a row before he had the 36. He could have had 45 in a row before he missed.
That is correct.
That's insane.
And you know what? And one of the things we had worked on prior to that was he knew that he had to add other dimensions to his game. People don't realize he won 1 year, didn't win again for 10 more years. So he knew he had to add dimensions to his game. And that's where I go, luckily he came to me. I mean, and we just had a good business and friendship to where we worked together well to understand how to advance his physical game. I cannot take credit, and I refuse to ever take credit for the way his abilities were brought forth. He had those abilities. My job was just to tell him how to do it.
Now, what about Scarborough?
Don't really know. I
don't-
never really watched him physically. I wasn't there, but it was on a week, and you got to remember that those scores were pretty astronomical all week.
So let me ask this, and Billy, you know this. I'm a big baseball guy.
Me
Billy
too.
knows that. So I always said, when Pete Rose passes away, they're going to put Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame. And they already lifted the ban, and most likely he'll be in the Hall of Fame within 3 years. Since Mr. Allison has unfortunately passed away, do you guys anticipate the Pete Rose treatment now for Glenn Allison, where the USBC is going to reverse what they did and approve the score finally and give him his rightful place in history?
I don't think so.
Really?
No, I don't think so. I think they've that's a hill they're going to die on, and I don't think they're going to do it, which is unfortunate, but I really don't.
I'm going to back up Paul on this one.
Wow.
The one thing that we have learned over the years is they've never yet admitted when they've made a mistake.
But it's not the board now. And look, everybody blasts Chad, right? He's the beating child. We get that. But this wasn't Chad's decision. This is going back 40 years ago.
Right.
Chad could make it right now.
He could have made it right while he was alive.
That is very true. You're 100%.
Right. There's quite a few things that, my mom was on the Hall of Fame board for USBC and PWBA for years and years and years, 20 years.
Mhm.
And she always told, I always argue, well, why can't you do this? And why can't you, why is this guy not getting his due? And, or this person's in this category. It just doesn't make sense. You can't on those committees and USBC, once you open that door, then nothing else matters. Then you can just change your mind on all these things. And my mom is a big rules person. She was a tournament director, for God's sake. So I mean,
God, do I remember?
all about rules. So once you cross that threshold, you can't go back. And I see both sides of the coin. I don't agree about the Glenn Allison ruling. I never have. I don't agree about the Ray Orff ruling. I mean, I don't know if you ever got to see Ray Bowl, Billy.
So why don't you tell everybody what the Ray Orff ruling is, so people that don't know it?
Well, it's. I mean, he shot 890, and then he sued the ABC because it was legit. I mean, the guy shot 890 with a Black Beauty, working the counter of his bowling center, bowling an adult youth league with his son Rich, who's my age now, and I mean, how much more legit can you get? and they don't give him the 890. And he sued and won. And I've known the Orfs for a long time. No one except for Rich and Steve and their sister Diana knows what that number was that he got off the ABC.
The settlement number, yeah.
What the settlement number was. No one has any idea. I do know that they opened up a very successful pro shop right after that, but I have no idea what they got out of it. And if you ever saw Ray Orfbull, my God, we used to call him the Midnight Train because you never heard him coming, and he'd just beat your ass all day. He was unbelievable. And how you not give that guy his due is beyond me too.
But if you just said open up the door, right? How many others would they have to let in? I mean, obviously Glenn is the first one. That's the most important one.
I think
It's not like baseball letting the steroid guys in the Hall of Fame. I don't think you would have that many that USBC would have to reverse, right? Or are there more that are hidden that we don't know about?
I don't think there's any more that we know about. I think there's maybe some Hall of Famers that are not in the either the correct or or even in the Hall of Fame that
or the correct category.
or the right. But
Look at Judy Sutar.
Well, I have opinions on that I'm not going to give right
Yeah,
now.
but I'm just saying, she's in on one category, but
right.
was never recognized or even was nominated for the other category. So
But
that
with, with PWBA, not with USBC.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, it's if they don't get it, at least nominate them.
But again, that's something. If you do that, if you change that, now you've got to go back and look at all these other people that are they in the correct category? Do we need to move that?
Oh, I agree, but I'm just saying there's a lot of discrepancies in there. There's a ton of them. You can look, and I'm not saying it should be one way or the other. What I'm saying is, if you're going to look at things, there's people that are in PBA, and I almost said something I really, really shouldn't. There's people that are in organizations that are in the Hall of Fame that have absolutely no reason to be in a Hall of Fame.
100%.
Absolutely.
100%.
And I'm in none. I have no problem with not being in none because I was behind the scenes. I wasn't on the lanes. Right. I don't deserve that accolade. But there are some that were on the lanes that got in there that I don't really know how they got in there.
I agree. And that's because of the categories that they put them in.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's like worming around it to where it's taken away the honor of it and the respect of it just to get a name in it that people will recognize. Is that the best way I can put that?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And, look at, somebody like what people don't know is, yes, Larry Lickstein was put in because of player services director and lifetime achievement and all the meritorious service and all that. But he was a hell of a player too.
Yeah, he was. Sure.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Rookie of the year of the title.
Yeah.
So what people don't recognize is that there's a lot of people, like I was never that good. I was pretty good. I was a good fish in a small pond. But take me out of there, I would have gotten eaten up.
But let me ask you, and I'll just use Larry as an example. If Larry had not been the player services and had not done all those other things, would he be in a Hall of Fame?
No.
Right. So I mean, you got
to
look
that's
at
what I mean. There's all kinds of ins and outs to it that I don't know where that standard really is anymore. There's people that are in a PBA Hall of Fame that I just kind of go, really? And then you have people that are there that nobody, like you and I have talked many times, like people don't even know who Joe Berardi is.
Right.
I told you that story today.
Yeah, and there's people that, it's like, how do you put it? It's
we're
like
we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna talk about the Hall. We're done the Hall of Fame conversation. I'm gonna throw it out there.
Yeah.
How do you not? I did a show with Justin maybe 4 years ago about this. We had Walter Ray and Jaros on. We lobbied for Jaros to get in the Hall of Fame. how do you not appreciate the resume, the full resume of a player? And this is the perfect example I'm going to give: Chris Warren.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely,
I
100%.
would put Chris in the Hall of Fame.
But forget that he doesn't meet the criteria because he doesn't have the 10 national titles or the 3 majors or whatever it is. He has 60 regional wins. 60.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you have to. I'm sorry, and I don't want to bark up the tree again, but you have to give those guys some kind of recognition for their regional accomplishments. You have to. Him.
Exactly.
Hugh Miller
like-
is another one. Hugh Miller's another one.
Yeah. And it's like, okay,
I mean,
all right, let's go a step further, which is, this will piss people off, but I really don't care. We are celebrating one-time titleists more than we're celebrating multiple titleists that deserve to be in a Hall of Fame. How do you make sense of that?
so
Which
let me.
one time?
All right, here's the name: Hall of Famer Chris Warren. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Schaefer, Hall of Famer. Yes or no?
Yes.
Eh. I would have to say. I would have to say yes with Ryan.
That's-
Yeah.
So I think it's 5 runner-ups in the majors. He's made 12 top 5s in the majors.
I think you got to look at his whole body of work.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Plus-
Expand it just to where
Yes.
it's the overall achievement.
Yes.
So it can't be on a 10. Okay, you have to have 10. But what about an overall achievement?
And that's why we thought Jaros was the perfect one. Because
That's-
Jaros had, I think, his 45 regional, at this point, when we did it years ago, he had like 43 or 45 regional wins. 8 titles. He had a major, millionaire, 300 TV, qualified for the Japan Cup, not a Hall of Famer. He finally got
Right.
in.
Right.
But that was the one that we felt was the most deserving. That's on that cusp. Guppy was another one.
Yeah.
Hugh Miller was another one.
Yeah.
Schaefer was another one. There's so many guys. Why don't you look at the whole body of work that these guys have done? When we talked to Walter, and Walter Ray said it the best, he goes, Weber had at this point 40 regional wins or 50 regional wins, whatever it was. But look at his region. He had both of the Travers, Lenny Borsch,
Yep.
Riggles. He's not beating up on your average Joe Bowler. I mean,
Oh,
these are
you're forget. I grew up. That's when I joined the PBA.
Okay.
I lived in that region. It was the
how
Midwest
tough was it,
region.
Paul? How tough was
Oh
that?
my
region?
God! At one point, you could be playing against 10 touring players in the top 16. That's
Yeah, you're bowling for
you
6
had-
spots basically.
you had all the Webers. You had Mark Fahey. You had Mike Steinbach.
Ooh,
Yeah,
Mike
Mike Steinbach was good. Bill Spigner. It was brutal. Bill Straub. If you made the top 16 in a regional back then in the early to mid 80s, you bowled your butt off to get there, and then you had to get your ass kicked all day because you had Randy Lightfoot, you had Rowdy Morrow, you had Ron Williams. Yeah, it was brutal. The Midwest back then in the late 70s to the mid 80s was as hard as any. Hell, at some point you could have Neil and Bo Burton kicking your ass. It was brutal.
There was an underestimated player, Neil Burton.
Oh yeah, he was good.
Won the Masters.
Won the Masters. Yeah, he was good. Neil was good.
Yeah, he just, and that's where we are taking the players and we're celebrating characters, not character of the heart, characters. And instead of really looking at the achievements of the players and celebrating their abilities. And that to me is, you and I have talked about it several times, Mike. We've got to get back to where we're celebrating the player.
Guppy a Hall of Famer, yes or no?
No.
With 50 regional wins and 8 national titles?
I just,
Does he have 50?
He's
Yeah.
over 50.
Is that what he has? 50? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. I knew he
And
had
who
a
has
bunch.
him? He's a couple seniors, but majority are the regular ones. Yeah.
Right.
yeah, but I mean, a lot of the regionals in that area weren't that strong until a lot of the guys from the Northeast moved down there.
But you're
And you
spending-
have to remember in the South, they had 34 regionals a year. No
Yeah.
other region had that many chances to win. And if you were good, Salmon Zurich has how many regional titles down there?
God only.
Right. You could bowl every weekend. Every weekend. Whereas in when I started, there were maybe 15 regionals throughout the year, and you didn't have any during the winter because you couldn't get there, depending on the weather. You just couldn't
Yeah,
get
depending on that part of the country.
there. Right.
But I mean, it's not to say Guppy's not an accomplished player,
No, unbelievable bowler.
but there's, to me, it's just there was something when the guys came out from the Midwest. Like there was a few players, only a few that came from the West Coast, because I'm more familiar with the Midwest and that area and the West Coast. That when they came out on tour, there's only a few that had to adapt.
Yeah.
Most of them were already good.
Yeah, they were ready. Mark
So
McDowell's my perfect example. Mark McDowell was ready to win the second he came out there. Rick
Yeah.
Steelsmith was ready to win the
Rick
second he came
Steelsmith.
out there. Unfortunately, Rick, Rick got hurt, but
Mhm.
Rick was going to beat everybody. I mean, he was so good. He was so much. He's one of the few guys he ever saw where 20-year veterans would stand behind him just to see where he was playing and to see how he did it, because he was that good.
Here's another one for you, and then we're going on the whole premise. I can't find the list. I used to have this spreadsheet of all the regional titles. I gotta look for it. Ron Columbia, Hall of Famer.
yes,
Okay, 5 or 6 titles, right, with 2 majors.
Two
Yes.
majors.
So you think he's a Hall of Famer?
absolutely,
He
man.
was-
That guy
yeah.
beat up everybody on the.
Yes. God forbid the heads were hooking, because Ron kill you. He'd just
He
kill
would-
you.
He would float a ball through the heads. Everybody thought he hit up on it. He did not hit
Mm-mm.
up on it. He launched out on it.
Yeah.
It's like Mark Roth. Everybody thought Mark lifted it. No, he didn't. He hit out on it really, really good. And that is a touch that is now gone, in my opinion. Either people are jacking their shoes up themselves out of their shoes to get an extra rub or two to take advantage of 5 boards of area, and they've lost that touch.
Is this a factual statement? Schaefer's probably the most underrated player in history.
He's definitely one of them.
I would say he was one of them. I think, to me, the most underrated player, and he's in the Hall of Fame, and he was one of the greatest shot makers of all time, is Dave Husted.
I was just saying
Absolutely.
I remember crossing with Dave in Toledo one year. It was probably 88, 89. Anyway, Dave, he didn't miss, and they were not easy. And Dave, we bowled an 8-game block on A squad, and he hit 8 all damn day. I mean, he never missed. He was unbelievable. He was one of the best shot makers I ever saw.
I mean, you win the U.S. Open 3 times.
He was incredible.
You don't stink. You know?
No, but he does not get enough credit,
Agreed.
as far as I'm concerned. He's one of the greats.
He also pulled back towards the end of his career too. Was he at the center? He didn't really bowl a full slate like in the late '90s or whatnot.
No, I mean, I don't know. I think he had some injuries and some back injuries and stuff like that. But
think about those. And you brought up a good point. The injuries.
mhm,
Okay, right now you can win a PBA title on 18 games.
right,
Back then, 18 games was qualifying.
right. That was half your week.
And then you had to go 24 more
Mhm.
on an average tournament. Okay, so you're up to 42 games. That doesn't include warm-up shots. That doesn't even practice, because these guys would practice to beat each other's brains in. And then you had possibly 4 more on TV.
Yeah, I'll tell you the guy that I've always said, if he had not gotten hurt, would be in every Hall of Fame, was Mark Baker.
Yeah, but
I think Baker would have. I mean, he only won 4 times.
Yeah.
Mark could have won 10 easily if he had not gotten hurt. No one could open up a lane like that guy.
Can I give you another name?
Yeah.
He's a really good friend of mine, Robert Smith.
Oh, without a doubt.
Same thing. Yeah, same thing.
Robert's a Hall of Famer if he doesn't blow his hips out. Agree?
Yeah, absolutely.
But the stress that they put on their bodies compared to now, and you got to remember they were throwing 16 pounds, not 15.
Right.
So, and they had to do more with their hand because there were no trick cores.
Mhm.
And we are now down to really, this sounds terrible, but who can match up?
Right.
Not who can execute.
Yeah.
Who can match up?
I
Who's got the
remember
right ball in their hand?
I talked to Michael Albee once, and nicest guy in the world. He's
Absolutely.
Oh,
a
yeah.
sweetheart. And he had said the difference between him and his class and me, or the normal, the rank and file, is all he has to do is figure out how to carry the 7, and that's all he has to do. Where the normal has to figure out the right ball, the right part of the lane, the right speed, the right release, and then have to figure out how to carry the corner pin. Albee has those 5 to 6 things already figured out. That's the difference between them and us, and he's right.
He's the only lefty that I know of that won on each part of the lane. Earl Anthony qualified on each part of the lane. That's one thing but Earl was, I think, way ahead of his time because he would never practice on the TV pair where he was going to actually play. He would always practice inside of it. So in his way, he was actually moving the oil and creating something that he could work with, which of course now all of us know more about it. And but that strategy no longer works for the simple reason is the oil viscosities have gotten so thick that they divide and then they stay divided. Back then they were made more with mineral spirits and alcohol, so they were thin. So when the oil divided, within 2 or 3 minutes, that oil would be back to where it was. So it was like a puddle constantly coming back and forth. Now it just goes, there's the puddle, and the puddle just gets wider and wider and wider.
I saw a post on Facebook this morning, Billy, and it was very simple. The question was, I think Bowler's Mart had posted it. Would Earl Anthony be successful today?
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
And you two are the only people that basically said yes. Everybody else can't wear a wrist guard on tour anymore. The oil,
They didn't have metal in them.
Yeah, Earl never. I mean, he wore one on TV, but it didn't mean anything. It didn't,
There was there was nothing in it.
paid.
You could go like this.
Right. He was getting paid.
Those guys didn't have any metal in them.
Take a look. Go watch a YouTube of Jeff Mattingly. That's one of my favorites. With the
Oh yeah, because he would be like this.
It was nothing.
It was like Earl would be like this at the
Right.
setup, and at the top of the swing, it was like this. You can't do that if there's metal.
No.
everybody basically said no, would not be competitive with the way the game is today, with the patterns, the balls, the spin. Everybody, I don't. That goes back to the stupidity of the modern player, I guess, or the modern game, right?
Well, they knew
don't-
more about the game than these guys have any idea. I don't even know what they knew about the game. I only know a little bit because I learned from them. So, and some people think I have a lot more knowledge than I do. Do I understand the game? Yeah, but they invented a way to understand the game. There's a huge difference there.
Yeah, I think Earl could win on anything, and he did.
He did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how many times did he win where he was the only lefty in the finals, and he'd make the show or he'd lead? I mean, it was
He'd
crazy.
lose by 400 or 500.
It was crazy.
The
I mean, and
last
I don't remember. I mean, I was too young, but I remember him coming in when I was a kid at the King Louis Open. This is a great Earl story. He led, and he never bowled it. He only bowled it like maybe 1 or 2 times. He always took that week off because it was in between 2 majors usually, and he didn't want to bowl. But he bowled it one year and led it by a mile, and he ends up finishing. Gets beat on the show, and I cannot remember who beat him. Earl never came back to Kansas City. That was the last time he was done. Nope, I'm done. I'm never coming back here. He never did.
It's like he would lead the showboat and never won.
Yeah, he never did win in Vegas.
Here's the stat. This is the last show I did. Litchie was with me. Litchie gave me this one. Earl won 40. When it count the Masters, 44 titles. When it count the Masters, 44 times.
Something like
Mhm.
that. Yeah.
All right, so 44 times. Earl finished second 44 times
Yeah.
as well. And
I mean,
third
honestly, he could
30 times.
80 times. He could have 80 titles. Over
He
80
bowled for the
titles.
title 80 times, and he finished third around 35 times as well. That's
Yeah.
insane. Insane.
You know,
Insane.
when I was a kid, I was a Roth guy. I was there when Roth shot 299 on TV. I was 10 years old. Watching that, won his first title. And from then on, Mark was my guy.
Mhm.
But as I got older, you watch Earl, and you don't realize how great that guy was. He was just the touch and what he could do with his hand and ball speed and just he was phenomenal. I mean, he was doing it with, I mean, let's face it, he was doing it with crap equipment. I
Yeah,
mean,
because
compared to what everybody else was throwing, he was throwing garbage.
the Ebonite ball had a splash weight block in it, a splash weight block versus a puck. Okay, a splash weight block. Some people call it a wet weight block. It just doesn't matter. But the heavy or the density of the material that the puck was made out of was still wet when they poured in the filler material. So the weight block would splash. So you would have different weights or different pieces of it in different parts of the top of the ball. Where with Columbia, once it went in, they gave it a cure time before they put the filler in, so it was more centralized. So yeah, that has a lot to do with it.
Right. And so I mean, he was phenomenal. He really was, and I came to appreciate that much later from watching videos, and I didn't appreciate it at the time because I thought, oh, he's a boring lefty. I don't want to watch that guy. But because I was a rough guy. But
Yeah.
The older I got, you got to appreciate stuff like that, man. I mean, it's another one, and I worked for him right out of high school was Wayne Zahn. That guy. Conventional, well, I guess you could call it a 3/4 grip, but anyway,
Yeah, 3/4 grip.
Spun it, had a figure 8 swing, but no one had better tempo than that guy. Nobody, and he could split hairs at 50 feet. He was unreal.
And there's something that if you go back and you watch, and I mean, Paul brought it up earlier. I'm a huge Lee Jugglar fan. If you don't know who that is, you need to go look it up. Along with Eddie Labansky and all them.
I forgot about Eddie. Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I'm a fan of them is they were so good and so graceful with a 16, and I mind you, 16-pound ball in their hand, but you never heard their feet.
Mm-mm. No
They
way.
danced with
I always
it.
heard Roth's feet going to the line.
You couldn't hear him.
Who, Mark?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you could. You could hear his feet. I mean,
You
he
could
sounded
hear
like
you could hear the last 2 or 3, but at the beginning,
no, that's true. But I mean, it sounded like a herd of horses by the time he got to the foul line.
Yeah, but the first few whatever steps, 10 or 20.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, depending on what day it was. Yeah.
Yeah, depending on the Tuesday at 3:30. I think I'll take 17 steps.
He was beautiful. God, I miss Mark.
Oh man, and he was one of the hardest people to drill a ball for. Oh my God.
Headache. You told me Webb was the hardest one, right? Or
Webb was the most impossible one.
Yeah.
There was like the hands okay, here's if you want to get into all that, because I still remember quite a bit of it. The ones that were really difficult to drill for was Wayne Webb, David Ozio, Norm Duke, and Mark Roth. And the easiest to drill was Amleto Monticelli, because he would just hack it out one way or another.
Watching him work out a ball was just disgusting. It was disgusting.
You give him a pick and an axe and a hammer, and you had a pretty good. It would probably come out the same.
It was gross.
Are you serious? That bad?
Oh no, it was bad.
His finger holes looked like toilet seats. They were horrible. They were absolutely. And he went through rosin like it was candy. I mean, I remember I crossed with him one time, and I had this puffball that I got from Cellucoat in St. Louis. They're called a Seco puffball. Now, Master has them now, and but Amleto had never seen one of those before. He says, "How do you give me one of those?" I said, "I'll get you a case of these." So I go home, and I had a week off, and I go in, I bring them in, and he would go through one of those a week. That's how much. Because he couldn't hang on to nothing, because he just worked. He was squeezing everything. It was incredible. But man, how good was that guy? But I mean, it just shows you that it takes so many things. People can do so many different things to win. That's what's incredible. That
and
is
his feel was unbelievable. He was.
yeah.
We've talked about a couple of people. Leto was my first roommate on tour.
Oh,
My
really?
my second roommate was Chris Warren, and Leto knew two words when we first started rooming. They were yes and no. That was it. But I mean, I don't speak it anymore, but because I lived around the world and learned other languages. And as you get older, if you don't use it, trust me, it goes away. And I learned like Indonesian, Arabic, and a little bit of Malay. So as you use the different languages as you go around, you lose one. So I understood enough Spanish to be able to speak to them and kind of tell them, okay, here's what we mean, and then give them the English translation.
Was there
So he would
anybody better at rolling out a ball than Leto?
Dell.
no,
Dell was pretty good at it.
yeah, but Dell could do it from deeper inside and make it
Yes.
hit.
Yeah.
If Omleto could roll it out right there, or hook it out is what it should be called, right around between the second and third arrow, he'll beat your brains in.
Yeah.
And if Dell could hook it out between the third and fourth arrow, he'd beat your brains in.
Right.
Those guys are just they're like dinosaurs now. They're extinct.
Dell, and I'm going to say this: Dell Ballard is one of the most underestimated, underappreciated, incredible talents I have ever seen in my
We
entire
can go
life.
back to the underrated part, like we talked about Houston before.
Oh,
He's
by
underrated.
far, he is
By
so
far,
far
yeah.
underrated.
Dell was
He was great,
yeah, he was unbelievable. And then there were a few years in there where you couldn't touch him. You just couldn't touch him.
and we don't appreciate that anymore. And it's I'll go back to the same thing. In order to build a future, we have to celebrate the past. And we have lost touch with celebrating the past. These are players that were not only good, they were phenomenal. And one of the best minds in bowling that I've ever met, other than those that taught me how to look at things and everything like that, is Dell Ballard.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt. One of the sharpest minds about the entire game
Mhm.
is Dell Ballard.
Absolutely agree.
Resin killed him.
Resin killed him, and then of course he had health issues. But his knowledge of the game, his understanding of the game, and how to relate that understanding to somebody, unparalleled.
There's so many guys that are underrated that didn't have the Hall of Fame careers that were phenomenal players. And I talked about this one time, Billy. Give you another one, George Branham.
Oh, for sure.
There's the guys like that were like, even Palumbi was another one that just were so good but didn't really have the spotlight. They weren't a household name, but they were fantastic players.
George Branham had the role of an absolute Mack truck.
Yeah. And the thing with George was just a straight up athlete. He could
Absolutely.
He was ripped. You could see
he was unbelievable.
You know, it's when you saw those players. This sounds a little bit unclean,
Mhm.
but my job was to get balls on TV when I worked
Sure.
for Fat Ball.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so yeah, you had to spot out the player. And there were some players we would always accommodate the players that were there that made the finals or were bowling 3 or 4 weeks in a row. But he's one player I shied away from because I knew our stuff was not going to roll good for him.
For George.
Yeah. And it just he rolled, our cover stock would just not match. Our core was too heavy. So, but man, when he got that Brunswick ball rolling off his hand, holy crap.
Yeah. He was pretty
But-
good with black U-Dots too.
Yes, he was. And we just didn't have that type of core. We had too much of a center heavy core.
Mhm.
So we didn't match. And I would, because Dennis Baldwin, who's passed away also, always asked people, why aren't you going after him? he would make our equipment look bad, and then other people would think our equipment would be bad because it wasn't a match.
Here, how about another one? I always thought this guy had $1 million game, only won once, made a boatload of shows. Mike Edwards.
Oh man, Eddie. I could watch Eddie Bowl for days. Days. Eddie was still one of the, I mean, he's still a very good friend of mine. I talk to him all the time. But Eddie was just couldn't catch a break on TV. I mean, he should have at least 8 titles, I think.
Yeah.
And he could bowl on anything. And if they were hooking, oh my God, he'd kill you.
Here's a good one for you. This is an interesting question. Who do we think is the most hard luck guy in the history of the PBL? I get to the show, just always never caught the break. Like always something would happen to him on the show. I got one guy that I always thought.
Let's hear it.
Mark Williams.
I don't know.
That's a Hall of Fame career.
He tripped the 4-pin quite well.
Let's think of Mark Williams post 1988.
Okay, well then he does something.
How many bad breaks did that guy get on TV? Or
quite a few.
Ran into a guy bowling 260 when he bowled 230 or 240.
Quite a few.
Well, you could say the same thing about Schaefer, but I'll tell you the guy that I thought, and there's another one, Don Mosier.
Yeah.
Mark Thayer.
Yeah.
My other roommate.
Mark Thayer. There's another guy I'd pay to watch bowl, and there's not too many I'd say that about. Mark Thayer had some roll that was just unbelievable. I mean, it was unreal. Give him an axis weighted blue hammer, and he'd go to town on you.
With the big wing hole in the logo.
Yeah.
When we would drill equipment, because there was a group of us that hung out together, and we were just good friends. And I had to be careful because, again, when you're working, prior to that, I was on the truck. And I did not, even Paul, I would not get close to anybody because you couldn't afford it. It would create the wrong reputation.
Right.
And we got to be friends and hanging out together, I played a lot of golf with Mark Thayer. His wife is unbelievable. Super, super nice lady, Kathy. But Mark, I think he made like 9 shows. And I think the lowest game that was shot at him was like 230.
Yeah.
How about this one?
I mean, he got
Sliker,
pummeled.
yeah. Gil Sliker's another one.
Exactly.
Yeah. He was a straight up shot maker. Gil Sliker was a shot maker.
One of the best steps before the slide of any player I've ever seen. Absolutely.
I mean, there's something like Marshall took a lot of beats on TV for a while. Parker took a lot of beats on TV. Barnes did the same thing. But who, if you guys had to pick one, who do you think was the guy who was always snake bitten on the show? History of the tour.
Who would do what?
Like the most snake bitten guy on the tour that just never caught the break on. Like Edwards is a good example.
Mark McDowell.
Yeah, but I mean, Mark had a couple really good years in there where he.
Yeah, but I mean, we were in. I'll never forget this. We were in Dallas at Forum Lanes, the one with the chandeliers and all that. Okay, he's bowling Pete McCordick, and this is the last game in the top 24. And if he strikes, he goes around. McCordick makes the show. I don't have any idea how the 7-pin stood. No idea. He blew the rack. There had to be 4 pins over there chasing the 7-pin, and it never fell. It was one of the greatest unrecognized, unseen shots I've ever seen.
I think he did the same thing in Rochester one year.
That guy, man,
very close.
Yeah, he just threw the ball good.
Yeah, Mark always threw it good. And still, have you seen him bowl lately?
Yes, it doesn't look any different.
He looks exactly the same.
Yeah. Did he won an Eagle this year, I believe, right? Did he
win
an Eagle?
Yeah, he did. It looks like okay, it's 30 years later. He looked like he just went to lunch and came back.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw another name out there. Guy bowled a couple years up. Paul, he was out there when you were out there in the late 80s, early 90s. He won one time and he quit. He went back home. He got a job.
I know you're talking about.
The lefty.
Yeah, it's
From my
Fisher.
state.
Fisher.
Dwayne Fisher. That's
Dwayne
my
Fisher
guy.
threw it great. He was smooth, man. Him and Parker as a doubles team.
Yep.
They were brutal.
There's
Parker
Go ahead.
still to this day says it. If
Yeah.
Fisher would have stayed on tour, he would have had a Hall of Fame career.
I agree. You can't argue with that,
He was
especially
bad.
coming from Parker.
And Johnny is the same thing, but Parker, he always says how good Dwayne Fisher was.
I don't
Sammy
think
Mack-
Dwayne had the. He was a super nice guy. I don't think Dwayne had to win out there. You had to be a killer.
And he won a
Yeah.
major. He won a major.
He did. He won the Touring Players. But
You
there's
had to be a
certain
prick.
guys you had to. You did. I mean, look at Mark Roth would tell you. Mark Roth would tell you he hated everybody. He hated the lanes. He hated the crowd. He hated who he was bowling against. He wanted to kill you. He hated the pins. He hated everything. You had to be a prick to win. There's certain guys. Now there's certain guys that were not pricks that won a bunch, but Mike Albee and Dave Houston come to mind.
Yeah.
Parker,
And
But-
Steve Cook.
And
Steve
Steve Cook. Yeah, another great guy. Bob
And-
Hanley.
But it's okay, and this is going to sound extremely egotistical, and I don't really care because it's a fact. For what Larry Lickstein, myself, Randy Stoughton, God rest his soul, and Kurt Schmidt did on that tour, for the amount of time we did it, there's nobody else that could have done it.
I would agree with that. I was
We-
out there for that.
And it sounds egotistical, but it's not. It takes not only for what we did behind the scenes, it takes an entire inside being to exist on the tour.
Mhm.
And yes, because there's times you're going to throw the ball, there's times where you're going to be sitting down and waiting, and the balance of all of that is brutal.
Mhm.
We got to go back to a time we didn't have cell phones. We weren't able to text each other or call each other. The phone calls were once a week. There wasn't the constant contact. So it took a special breed. We were on the road roughly 10 months out of the year. We were home at most 3 to 4 weeks at a time.
Mhm.
So it was a different thing back then. And like right now, I think next year the tour is like 3 months long, something like
11
that.
stops. 11 stops, I think, right?
That's incredible to me. Really.
So we're looking at, we were there 16 weeks. That was the winter tour. And my favorite trip was always from beautiful Florida to Peoria.
Ugh.
Which is closing, by the way. Landmark.
Yeah,
is
I know.
closing.
It's just now
Yeah.
closing. But I mean, you went from absolute pitch perfect weather
To Peoria.
Peoria, Illinois.
to Peoria to where it could be nice for 5 minutes,
Right.
and then it could rain, then it would sleet, then it would snow, and then it could be nice. And that was all in one afternoon.
Yeah.
I
have a great story about Peoria when you're done.
Go right ahead. Jump right in.
We had bowled in. Remember, we used to bowl in New Orleans, and we bowled
Yeah.
in New Orleans. And my roommate at the time was Dennis Rakauskas from Florida.
Yeah, great
Yeah,
player.
well, he was from Scranton, Pennsylvania at the time. But so we fly into Chicago, and we're going to catch a puddle jumper to Peoria. And on our flight is Amleto, his wife, his first wife,
Yeah.
his brother, Rodolfo, who was just, I still keep in touch with Rodolfo, great guy, and this little guy named Gianni Russo, who was from Venezuela at the time.
I remember him.
Little dude, he lives in
Little
Colorado
small
now.
dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
or he lives in Florida, I think. Anyway, we're in this. It was like a 10-seat plane, and we go up, and it starts to snow, and the plane's going up and down, up and down, up and down, and Amleto's sound asleep, and I'm a lousy flyer anyway. And I look over at Dennis, and he's laughing at me because I'm white knuckling it. And he says, "What are you thinking about?" I said, "I'm thinking about the headline." He says, "What's the headline?" I said, "Amleto Monticelli and 4 no-names die in a plane crash in the middle of Illinois."
That
Hey,
would
Billy,
be
here's one for you. This is
yeah,
coming in from Mr. Tap again. Are we ready for this one?
yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Remember Billy showing me a ball track, was able to tell me how far down the lane the infamous basketball was.
Oh God. Yeah.
A little,
The
light
Lon
here.
Marshall basketball.
Okay. So I I was slightly rebellious. Hard to imagine.
No, not you.
Yes.
I know. Paul, relax slightly. So we were in Akron, Ohio. And yes, I got called into the front office for this one. So at one time, we weren't allowed to go to the dinner because we were staff. And they would have the Hall of Fame dinner, then, the Tournament of Champions dinner the same night. Well, I was being slightly mischievous and I went out and bought a bunch of basketballs. And they were like the little basketballs like this.
Yeah.
And then I put them players' names on them and then went up and down the lanes and put where they would bowl good. Yeah.
You
So
know,
I was called into, imagine that. I was called into the office for some unknown reason.
yeah,
Um,
unbelievable.
but I would put, and Ozio's was 5 feet down the lane. So Lon Marshall walks in. Oh my God. Turns stone white and he goes, "How the did you know?" I said, "Lon, I'm here every week. It's not like you can't see it when you were there every week." Now, did they put him out for those players? No, but they did put him out for certain parts of the lane to play. And just so happens those players like playing the outside again. I'll go back to Malacosta up the gutter. Ooh,
Ooh, Mal
unbelievable.
he was awesome off the gutter.
Now swing gutter, and now you got to go to Ozio
Or Dennis
because
Jakes.
or Dennis Jakes.
Oh,
Now
come on, Billy.
when you had to swing it to it, Ozio was your guy because he
Yeah.
wasn't really good at squaring up to it, but he was really good if he could get into like 4, 5, 6 and go out to the ditch because he got it to the same part of the lane all the time. And then when a bowling ball would come back, what we would do during practice sessions is I would look, and you could literally see where you could tell after like just a few shots where the oil built up on the track of the ball. It's like even to this day, I could put my hand on a bowling ball, put my finger, put a piece of tape, measure it, and that's your access point. Because we didn't have the things we had today back
You didn't
then.
have
So
the
you had to,
armadillo back then.
yeah,
Right.
you had to do it, and these guys were depending on you for a living. So you only had your brain, and you only had literally maybe 10 minutes a player to get things done. So you had to really know what you were doing really quick. So I came up with my own methods. But when you looked at the patterns, and I'll go back to this, we talked about this with Blue Oil, Lynn Nicholson, still my favorite pattern. When they did 3 boards and then like a tier, 3 more boards, then a tier, and it was called the finger pattern. It was the best. God, I wish they would bring that back because you're not getting away with much. If you overhit it and you tugged it in, it would hydroplane away from you. If you got it to the outside part real quick, it would duck hook on you. So you had to be really good. So we would look at the oil patterns and you could literally walk up and down. We never said anything, but you could see where the oil gathered on the lane. It's like this whole thing, and I want to jump ahead because we're going to have another show at one point in time. Okay, it's like this myth right now that I hear about. Okay, let me go by this. I learned about layouts in the 70s. So it's not something that came around in the 80s. The person that I learned the most about layouts was from Richie Spizzato and Bud Horn. Very, very bright people.
Bud
Very
Horn,
smart.
really?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was very, very smart.
Okay.
So I learned more about now. All I did was took their information and advanced it. So I can't take credit for it. They had the basics of the information. Okay. But one of the tricks to layouts or whatever, pin placements, whatever you want to call it. Okay. So I'm going to throw a trick at you. We're going to go by the number 4. So let's say somebody's axis point is 4 inches over. We're just going to leave it at that. Okay. What's 8 minus 4?
4.
What's 3 plus 1?
4.
What's 12 minus 8?
4.
So you have a whole bunch of different ways to get to the same axis point. So layouts are just a suggestion. Layout axis points, axis rotations, and rev rates. A player can hit it out in front of them, have that axis point. A player can throw it more through their legs, have that axis point. A player can hit up on it, or launch it a long way. So that's why layouts are a suggestion, because there's other information that creates it that if you don't understand that, then the layouts really don't offer anything other than a characteristic.
Genius.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And that's one of the things that I was accredited for, was understanding how to do it real quick. But those things I learned from Mr. Earl Anthony. Somebody that was a wealth of knowledge was Mark Roth. He would tell you, but not tell you. None of them would tell you. They would tell you, but not tell you.
Billy, I'm going to cut you off for a second. We were talking about before about Earl with his wrist devices and his wrist guards and whatnot. He can't use the metal. So I have a little surprise for you. I want to bring on, we have a guest joining us, another person who wanted to pop in and say hello tonight. My favorite PW staffer. Remember the PW?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it Charlie? Oh, there he is. Hey, Chuck.
What's going on, Tapper?
Look, let's see. Hang
Is he in
on.
the closet?
Did you pay the light bill?
Yeah, I paid it yesterday. We're good.
Charlie's coming out of the closet. What's up, Chuck? How you doing, bud?
Hey, not bad. Just watching you guys hanging around. Crap like that.
So in other words, you have no life.
That's right. You're sitting here watching three schmucks talk about bowling.
We talk about pathetic.
Thanks, Charlie.
Yeah. That is, but yeah, this is fun. It's fun to listen to. Like, because Billy and Paul with all the history and all that stuff like that. So yeah, it's fun.
So let me ask you: Do you think we need to celebrate the history much more than we do?
Oh God, nobody knows anything about it. It's terrible. Even my college kids.
Yeah,
when I was coaching college last year and a couple of years before that, it's like you don't know who Earl Anthony is. You don't know who Mark Roth is, and my God,
it's like I tell people I could walk down the bowling alley with Belmonte and nobody would know.
No, that's probably
they wouldn't know.
That's probably true. I'm working at a pro shop, a couple of days a week, and I was telling this kid came in today. He's probably 17 years old, bowls in high school. And he's got a 14-pound ball. And he says, "Well," he said, "I want to go up and weight, so I'm going to fit his hand." He goes, "Well, I don't put my thumb in." No, okay, So nobody puts their thumb in anymore. So I go out there and I watch this kid bowl. He's, his stance is terrible, and he's throwing his ball. He's throwing a two-handed backup, and it was incredible. And I'm watching. I'm thinking to myself, if I could get this kid and put his feet in the right place and tell him where to throw it, he'd be unbeatable. Yeah, he don't know shit about bowling, And that's what this has kind of come to. I don't have anything against bowling two-handed or anything like that. I don't care about that. That's just part of the evolution. But geez, it's and not, and like you say, with the history and not knowing who these people are, like Glenn Allison, and I got to meet Glenn a few times and got to shoot the breeze with him and stuff, and it's fantastic.
You got any good stories?
And it's just it's crazy, and this happened. This happened about 2 years ago too. A friend of mine had me give his kid a couple of lessons, and he couldn't break an egg. And 2 years later, I walk into a bowling center, He's throwing two-handed. Same thing. I'd never be able to beat him on my best day. You know, hey, do you know who Earl Anthony or Mark Roth is? Huh? What are you talking about?
I have
What?
no idea.
Yeah,
You,
no.
you know, and the way we get back to that, and I've talked to Mike about this before, people don't realize we originated from team.
Yeah, it was always always a team sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, right now you're selling these god awful shirts that I see with sublimation on them. I'm just telling the truth,
I
Yeah.
don't disagree with you.
you know, but you know what brings in money? You know what brings in excitement? A representation of a logo.
Yeah.
And what do we not have right now? And I'm not talking about a ball company logo. I'm talking about a true logo, like a Goodyear or a Firestone or something that would be recognized by everybody. We have nothing that recognizes and these shirts that they're wearing now. Oh my God, they
Yeah.
are. I'm partially colorblind, and even I know they're ugly.
Yeah.
So it's
I had a couple
and
girls like that.
and it's like
More
what
than a
we
couple.
and
It's
one
like
of
my
the
friend
things.
Lloyd told me. He goes, Charlie, he says, I never went to bed with an ugly girl, but I sure woke up with a few.
Yeah, there you go. But it's like what you guys tried to do back then, Charlie, is you got to get maybe not a players union, but there better be a players
Well, remember
association.
we tried that?
Yeah, and
Well, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that what we tried. We just tried to get our own separate deals for shoes and hotels and things like that. And they got all pissed off about it and thought we were overthrowing the thing.
the whole
And we
organization.
part of that. Well, nobody knew how to run a tournament. We weren't worried
No,
about
you guys were
tournament.
trying to build a future, and
Yeah,
this is
it
where
just-
Ernie Schlegel was so far ahead of his time.
He
Oh
was.
my God!
He had, as goofy as he is still. Thankfully, he's still goofy. But he talked about building bowling centers, and with gambling and all the other stuff, like a parimutuel thing, and how far would bowling be now with all that? Gambling's just so much.
Yeah, I mean,
involved.
people sit in their house, and I don't know anything about it because I don't even really gamble because I live in a town that, you know what, if you go gamble, you're not going to have a house to go to.
That's true.
So
Well, I can tell you
it's
this. He was in
it's
Vegas long enough.
10 years.
and we've got to get back, and I believe the team concept is what we have to go back to. And I don't care if it's a loaded team. You know why? I want to see the best win.
Sure.
I'm tired of this. Well, you can't have this, you can't have that. Well, what kind of competition is that really when you can say I can't have this, but I can't have that, but you want the best to form a team. And if you have a dominating team, doesn't that bring in more money for that team? And doesn't that make the rest of the teams want to work at getting more
Yeah,
progressed?
I'll tell you, I just don't understand. I just don't understand this thing like with the college. Paul's coaching college now, and I've been coaching him, and it's just why can you use it up to point B, and then after point B you can't use it anymore?
Oh, yeah.
What the hell's the sense in that?
I don't know. And the same thing for junior gold. They're doing the same thing for junior gold.
Yeah.
Why are you taking away what, either take it away or
right?
let them all use it. Who cares? But
Yeah.
don't hamper them after they've, qualified. And now you take away a tool. I just have a hard time with that.
Yeah,
And I agree.
Real big hard time.
Like I say, I'm not coaching this year, but last year, every tournament, I don't give a damn what the pattern was. You'd go there, and every ball on the rack was urethane, sanded to 180 and 360, and you used it for a game and a half, and then that was it. Couldn't use it anymore because as soon as it had to migrate in, it was no good anymore.
Right.
And that's the only time you really use it. Guys on tour are using it a little bit longer now, and so are some of the other guys. But for the most part, it was a game and a half, maybe. So
This guy's trying to get on your good side, Jeff.
Hey, Rob.
I'm reading this and I'm wondering who Charlie Tapp is. That's still an awesome bowler, but hey, that's a different story.
Hey, look,
Um,
hey, PBA history right here, mister.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
You know what,
He's
Charlie?
a history maker right there.
So
I-
what's
here's
the pipe down?
I was watching an old show today, Charlie. It was one of yours, and one of probably my favorite Charlie Tapp moment ever when you made a show was was this one when you picked the wrong ball up and threw it on the show
I
Oh,
remember
yes.
that.
in Garden City.
Well, the week I made the show the week before in Baltimore, and Billy
Okay.
Supper was running Ebonite at the time. And well, Billy, you remember all that. But anyway, then the firebolt was coming out the next week. So I made the show, and on Friday night he goes, "Well," he says, "Well, I said, "Why can't I use it now?" Because the incentive was huge. It was like $20,000 to win with it.
$20,000 when it first hit the door. Hit the
And
board.
this was 1985. And I'm like, "How about using it now?" He goes, "No, it's not released till Monday." So I drilled two of them. One was, like you would drill the hammers with the big hole on the axis,
Yeah.
and the other one was just over the label that we drilled Friday night. The one with the axis hole I used the entire week. So I get on the show, and I put them both on the rack, and they both felt the same. And I'm not paying you. I'm bowling Amuleto. And to this day, I tease Amuleto. I said, "How the hell did you ever beat me?" I mean, 245, he's missing them all. Off his ankle and his other. And I'm thinking, how the hell am I losing to this guy? He can't speak English. Give me a break. and I still tease him about it. We laugh like hell. But anyway, I damn 2-pin or 2-5 or whatever. The ball's halfway down the lane. I'm like, and with this dumbass, I'm like, I just threw the wrong one. If I don't say anything, nobody
No one knows. Yeah.
Nobody knows. So I'm like, oh, what the hell? And the thing is that it was drilled totally different. I mean, it felt identical. How many times you get to that feel identical? Never. And one, it was shiny and it had a white label. The other one was all blacked out. So it's like, you don't think I would pick up the ball and look and say, "Hey, this might be the wrong one." No. No. So anyway, I ended up losing an Amuleto. But anyway, so that was pretty stupid.
But the one thing about the college right now is, and Paul mentioned it earlier, and I'll 100% back it up. They're bowling on tougher patterns than the PBA is.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, it's like when you're looking so averages can be manipulated. And you look at, you're looking at how, are we really watching the best anymore when it comes to that type of presentation when it comes to professional 11? I don't think so.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing with college too is you've got 10 guys on the pair,
And they're throwing it all over the place.
throwing it all over the place. Yeah. So I mean, that's obviously what makes it a lot harder. But for the most, all things being equal, those patterns are tough.
They're very tough. I've been looking at them, and you've got to know what you're doing.
And I know Nick Hoagland does. He does three or four different tournaments, and he tries to come up with a pattern to, hopefully to, take away a part of the lane or add a part of the lane or whatever. But everybody's stuck on urethane. They all have 500 rev rates with no thumb in the ball, and there's all spray nozzles, and what are you gonna do?
Seriously. My best bowler, he's a senior now, on a house shot is high 230s. Okay, I mean he's a good bowler. A lot of two-handed, ton of ball speed, just gets all over it, just yaks on it. He has not averaged 200 on a collegiate, on any collegiate condition. I think maybe one. I think he's made 2 all tournament teams or something like that, but he's only averaged 200 a couple times.
Yeah,
and he'll tell you that they're tougher, and it just is. It's crazy. And Chris Barnes, Chris, when Ryan was bowling for Wichita State, he'll tell you straight up that collegiate kids bowl on tougher stuff than the PBA does.
Yeah, it is. It's hard. It's fun though.
Oh, it's
college bowling's a riot.
It's hilarious.
And collegiate is team, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I really honestly believe we need to go back to team, because that's the roots of the game. We
Yeah.
didn't splinter off, and it was all clubs before that, private clubs. We had integrity at that time, and we had what people would be attracted to, and we had the mystique of it. And I think we've completely lost all that.
Well, I mean, that was, even back, even back in the '80s when we were like me and Hutch and all those guys were on the tournament committee and executive board. I mean, we had talked about there's just kind of like no mystique about the pro bowlers and any of that stuff, because everybody was so accessible. You couldn't go to a golf tournament, walk a hole with Jack Nicklaus,
Right.
and and bowling, you're right there. I mean, it's like you obviously want to be friendly. You don't want to come across like an asshole. But I mean, it's just, and we thought, the more that we could separate ourselves, the more that you could separate yourself like from the public. Like the best tournament I think that ever did that was the first year we went to Carolier. I think it was '91. They had everything roped off.
I remember that.
Security guards everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yep, and the bowlers were inside the ropes. The fans were outside the ropes. I mean, it was phenomenal. I mean, that was such a fun tournament. And the people the people were great bowling fans. And I mean, they could do their shouting and heckling and all that stuff. But it was awesome. It was awesome. But you would get done bowling. I mean, you had a walkway to walk through, and there's people 5, 6 deep, wanting your autograph, wanting to shake your hand, whatever the case might be. Shit, I mean, you never see that in bowling.
Can't know how.
I think the more that would have happened or would have been, I think the better it would have been, or the better it would be. But,
Can't know how.
But the other thing that you were talking about too, Billy, is that like with the sponsors, there was always some kind of like exclusivity. I mean,
Yep.
It was like, Miller had the tour, or but nobody else could come in, or whatever the company is. There was never like American Airlines and TWA and Budweiser and all that other crap like that. And the executive board or the tournament committee meeting, Eddie Elias came in the fall of '91, I think. And that was the highest paying tour segment they had ever had. And he sold all those tournaments individually. Budweiser.
Yeah, I remember.
Florida.
Spitfire Park, Spark Plug, and all that.
Yeah, every one of those tournaments paid $30,000 or $40,000 to win, and that was the only difference between the winter tour. The winter tour, I mean, they spread the money all the time. And like when they had the Pat Boone that one year in Hartford.
Yeah, I remember that.
They paid him. They paid him 20. He didn't give them a dime. They paid him. It's like Hartford didn't pay. Hartford never paid that well because they were at the end.
Mary Lou Retton when they had the U.S. Open down in Florida, and Saratoga, I believe it was.
Yeah,
they
paid her.
But
they paid her.
I think I think just all that stuff together. I mean, obviously you got to go back even further, but all that stuff together just is how it ended up evolving today. I mean, the money's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's worse than it was when we were bowling in the '80s.
Yeah,
you're bowling for 20,000 first, the same that you were bowling for in the '80s.
Right, and the entry
we were bowling for
fees
more than that in the '80s.
are 10 times higher.
Yeah.
When I started, it was like $105.
Yeah, and I remember when it went up to 120, everybody bitched.
Oh yeah, everybody's going crazy. You're screwing us.
Yeah, it was kind of like when Brunswick would hand out 6 balls to every player at an open, and you're like, God,
rhinos,
really?
Yeah. unlimited rhinos,
unlimited rhinos. Oh God, I think we drove 3. It was 300.
When they had what the hell was it? They had the black, the pink, and the gray rhinos came out.
Yep.
there was 3 of them, right? If I
Yeah.
remember
Yeah.
right. Yeah, and it was
Yeah.
at the World Open in Chicago.
Yeah, we drilled 389 balls that week.
Oh my God! And there was a guy from Scotland. I mean, I don't think he could. I mean, if he was speaking English, you didn't know. You know?
Yeah,
just-
I've been there. It's a tough.
skinny
It's a tough.
And he's bowling with Berardi, and I'm next to them, you know. And there was a guy from Argentina or something like that, you know, and he was kind of a Sasquatch guy, you know.
Yeah.
His knuckles were dragging on the floor, and he's just like 100 freaking miles an hour. No idea where the hell it's going. And then the little Scottish guy, or whatever the hell he was trying to play the gutter, and the gutter was set like Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean, it was just flooded, and he never hit the head pin. He never hit the head pin. And so Berardi comes up to me, and he goes, and he's crossing on this. Charlie, he said, Jesus Christ, do me a favor. He says, tell this guy to move in. I said, how many is he under? It's like 1,100. He's 1,100 under. Yeah, I'm going to tell him to move in now in game 21.
Right.
He's 1,100 under. I don't think he gives a shit anymore, you know? Oh, my God. But this guy was bound and determined to get this ball to hit that. I mean, he'd still be there. You know, it was, oh, God, it was so funny. Holy shit. He goes, you really should help him. I said, well, you're crossing with him. He goes, yeah, but I don't understand the word he's saying. Yeah, like I am. Like,
Right.
We're the world travelers.
Yeah, both from Ireland. Hey, Sven, or whatever the hell your name is. Hey, why don't you move to the left? Which way is that? Okay.
Which way?
Why don't you be
Yeah.
a orangutan guy. You know, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was chaos. Oh God, was it funny?
Bill, do you remember the year they ran out at the World Open? They ran out of the plastic balls on the truck, and everybody was scrambling, hitting every pro shop in town.
We hit every pro shop in town and every distributor in town, and we could not get enough.
No, they hooked so much.
And it was like the year in Alameda, Mel's Bowl, where Toby Contreras won.
Oh, hi, Charlie.
Oh, remember that tournament, Chuck?
Yeah, I vaguely.
That ball, I mean, they were scarred up after warm-up shots because they left the doors open, and there was grit on the lanes from the sand coming in.
Yeah.
And it was worse than Bradley Bowl, where when the fiberglass fell from the bottom or from the ceiling onto the lane, and
planes fly over.
yeah, you won there.
I won in both places. Or no, I didn't.
No. You finished second the one time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a Coke machine that's still.
Oh yeah.
I was just going to say, there's a soda machine in that place, Charlie?
Still standing there.
But those were.
Wait, hold on a second. Charlie, is that the worst beat you've ever had in your career?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, without a doubt. And it was my own fault. You know, I mean, I had them by the cojones, you know, and instead of taking a re-rack, I did what Hutch told me to do like 5 years earlier when I was leaving ringing 10 pins, or the rack was open. And I made a little bit of a move left to get it a little bit further right, and then he yanked back in a Greek church. Other than that, I mean, my foot's on his throat. I'm ahead by 30 with 3 frames to go. You know, then all of a sudden he's jumping around like an idiot, you know, and over the ball. I didn't even know he was in the tournament until Sam Flanagan said something in the 39th game. We were on Friday night, and I'm bowling Sam, and I can't remember, and Palmer was bowling somebody, and then Toby was just like a lane or two away, you know, and Flanagan, he goes, "Hey, Tapwater," he says, "How about this asshole who's jumping around and everything?" Like, what are you talking about? He goes, "That guy over there." He goes, "Watch him," right? And he gets a strike, and he's up in the air, and he's clapping his hands, and what the hell, you know? And Palmer was leading by 220. 250 going into Friday night, and Toby caught him and passed him. That's how he led.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, what the hell? I mean, like you say, I didn't even know he was in the tournament.
That was only his like his second or third
Yeah,
national stop ever.
yeah.
Did he ever make a show after that? Or he was a
No.
one and
No,
done
No,
thing?
one and done.
No,
No, he made the. Where the hell did we go after that, Billy? I think didn't we go to Dallas? Right? No, we went to Vegas, then to Dallas.
Vegas, Alameda,
Yeah, then we
Vegas,
went to
Dallas.
So when we got to Dallas, and he had already bought a motorhome
oh yeah,
and all this other stuff, and he got to Dallas, and Bud Fisher, who was a tour director at the time, thought this guy was going to be the savior. They really thought, honest to God, they thought he was going to be the savior of the tour. You know, and it's like, yeah, then he bowled good, and I think he bowled good in Dallas. I want to say he made the finals and finished like.
He made the finals in Dallas.
Yeah, and then I don't think he did anything. Didn't he make the finals at the Firestone too?
yeah, I think he did.
I don't remember that.
Yeah,
But I
guess
remember
the
Dallas.
last one-hit wonder besides Emmett
Yeah.
Shoots. Besides Emmett Shoots,
Oh
Yep.
yeah.
Oh, I can name a couple more besides
Brian
Toby.
Davis.
Yeah.
Brian Davis.
Charlie Lacey.
Charlie Lacey.
Yeah, Charlie Lacey.
The
Yeah.
Brooklyn by Emmett Shoots.
Yeah.
That made Earl so
Yeah.
happy.
Oh,
Oh my God! You know what's really funny?
I've rewound that I don't know
That's
how many
awful.
times just to watch
A repertoire
Earl.
strikes.
oh, I mean that whole thing. Earl is sitting on the chair laughing.
Yeah.
Is he really?
It's like,
What are you gonna do?
He's like, what the hell's going on? What
Yeah.
the hell's going on here? You know?
What are you gonna do?
Yeah. There's nothing you can do.
Right.
You know, but Charlie Lacey. That's when he started from the back of the approach. Or no,
Yeah,
With a foot off the approach.
Off
Yeah.
the approach. One
Did
foot
you know
off the
that, Mike?
approach.
he started with his foot off the approach.
Yeah.
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 The week that he won, I had breakfast with him the first morning of qualifying, and he did really well. He says, "Okay, you got to have breakfast with me tomorrow." So I had breakfast with him the next day, and then he makes the finals, and he goes, "So you got to have breakfast with me again." And I said, "Okay." And every day he bought breakfast because he was superstitious. And he said, and then he won that week. He didn't tip us though, so that was.
You know what's funny is Charlie and Toby. I bowled in the same league with both of them years later. I mean, it was after both of them were done with the tour, but I bowled with both of them, and my God, we give them both crap. It was like, you guys have made names for yourselves over one friggin' title. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Come on, throw a
It's
couple
kind
more.
of like what we're celebrating now. We're
Yeah.
celebrating players that win one title.
And
Great.
you know what? Toby's had a very good career. It's still in bowling,
Mhm.
but he's had a very, and he's happy with what he's doing.
Yeah.
Charlie had a pro shop for years at King Louis West.
Yeah.
He had a pro shop for years, and he's retired now. He lives down in Springfield, Missouri. And I see him once a year at the Ozarks and stuff, and I see Toby all the time, and those are two one-hit wonders, but they've had very productive, successful careers away from the tour. And there were other one-hit wonders. Everybody remember Alan Bishop? You remember Alan?
Yeah, he won the
Yes.
Quaker State.
I remember Alan.
Won the Quaker State, and he's passed away now. But I mean, in a million years, that'd be the last guy I thought would win a tour title. And
Yeah, the
Alan-
guy
and
couldn't
Alan-
spare for any.
No, oh God, nicest guy in the world too. Alan
Oh,
was a great
super,
guy.
super nice.
Who else? John O'Drobenak.
Wasn't there somebody that won in El
Ronald
Paso?
Robinak's another good one.
Who's that, Charlie?
Wasn't there somebody that won in El Paso? That
The lefty.
there was a lefty that won in El-
No. Ray Edwards.
From Long Island.
Not Ray from Brunswick.
No, Ray
Ray
from Long
from-
Island.
Well,
from
Ray
Long
Edwards from
Island.
Long Island.
Yeah,
But
he
wasn't
won
there
in El
some?
Paso.
No, I thought there was a lefty that won in El Paso. That
that was Rick. He wore a Cobra.
yeah.
Rick. What was that guy's name? He won a couple times. He won twice.
Rick Lawrence.
Rick Lawrence. That's it. He won twice. I think he won in Wichita too.
Yeah, he did. He beat all the Hall of Famers, all be Walter
Yeah.
Parker.
Oh yeah.
Never in a
that's right.
million
I
years.
forgot about him. Yeah.
O'Drobenak was the other one he ran the
John O'Drobenak went through Wayne Webb, Marshall Holman, and Mark Roth to win in his
Yeah.
first show ever. Yeah. I mean, John only made a couple shows, but I mean,
And then the
I'll
next,
never
That's good.
forget.
then the next
couldn't
week he
walk
took a
the-
shoe brush to his forehead.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
John had some anger issues.
Yeah, he couldn't walk the rest of the time from beating his thighs.
Oh God. Yeah, that's man.
He was
Well, gentlemen-
hilarious. I roomed with him a couple weeks. He was hilarious.
Oh God.
I have to run. I have a daughter to take care of.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this one up, guys. You guys were awesome as always.
And I appreciate it. Chat tap. Next time you're out in Vegas, let me know. I
You
won't
got it,
see you,
Billy.
but at least let me know.
Yeah, we'll be, well, I was going to say we'd be out there for the Hall of Fame, but that's in Reno
Yeah.
Is it
well,
really?
you know,
Vegas is there?
because Marlis is getting in the Hall of
Marlis
Fame.
is getting in the Hall of Fame. That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, nice seeing all you gentlemen. Thank you for the time.
That's all,
Appreciate it.
Billy.
But
Marlis,
And you guys have a great night.
Bringing it up to Toby thinks she really appreciates that.
You guys have a good one.
thanks,
See ya,
guys.
Billy.
And, we'll be
Good
back
talking
in a
to you.
couple weeks. Paul, lovely meeting you. Thank you so
Nice
much.
meeting you
And
too, Mike.
Chuck, it's always a pleasure.
Always fun, Mike.
God, yeah.
Have a
I'm
great
glad
night,
you had
guys.
fun.
Bye, Billy.
All
Hey,
right.
Billy.
See ya.
Yeah, Wolfie and I go way back.
We go back to when I